What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this episode of EnglishTurks, where I review your favorite Turkish series with and without English subtitles. And today we're talking about Dogdugun Kaderindir, episode 10. Before I get into that, I want to wish you all health and safety during this pandemic with COVID-19. Don't forget to wash your hands and keep your hands out of your face. And maybe use this time to catch up on all your favorite Disneys. I know I will. But really, I do hope that everyone stays safe and healthy, including all our favorite actors and actresses in the Disney world. So let's get into this episode. For me, it was a bit long, like the 2 hours kind of dragged. It was a whole lot of crying. Okay, I get it. We all love Mehdi and we want him to survive. But I mean, for real, like I've been in a situation where my brother was in a coma and we had the whole crying period. And then we had the, okay, let's have hope and support the doctors. Because, like, for instance, when Zeynep was yelling, to her sister-in-law, who kind of made it seem like Mehdi was already dead. I'm like, but you're like wailing like he's already dead. He's not already dead. Stop crying. The doctor says it doesn't look good, which I can understand your concern, but I'm just saying it was just a little bit too much crying. I know everyone deals with situations differently, so I'm going to give them that, but I think like they were like just a little bit much, just for me, my opinion. It doesn't have to be yours. We can agree to disagree. However, I was kind of pissed off at Zeynep's mom because, like, really, Zeynep finally decides to call Mehdi's mom Anne, and you get pissed off. Like, you have some serious issues, lady. You need to be worried about your husband right now and just leave. Like, that is the dumbest thing to be angry with Zeynep about. Like the dumbest thing for you to give angry looks at Mehdi's mom. Like, what is that gonna do for you? That is the most, like, that was really stupid. Moving on. This is the first episode where Mehdi's best friend knew actually ended up having to do more work in an episode than Mehdi because he literally was laying in a bed. All the conversations that people had going to sit by his bed, and I kind of fast forwarded through all of them. The only one that I watched was Zeynep's, but I know that he also spoke with his mom, and Banal shared a few short words as well. But I fast forwarded through most of them because it was just long, long. The crying, the sitting, the talking, it was long. I was worried for Zeynep's dad because he did reveal who the guy was, although they had threatened him, and that kind of scared me. But I was really like, I think the most exciting part of the episode is when they all went over there and started beating up on the guys. I was like, yeah, 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 punch him, get him, yeah. I was like so into that fight. And I was like, I felt that when I think it's Jalal, I think that's the name of his frenemy, was like, nah, man, he's my frenemy. Y'all don't have a right to beat him up. I'm the only one that's gonna beat him up. I mean, I'm just saying, like, they have that respect for each other. So I did appreciate that part in the episode. And honestly, I can't wait for them to move on from this banal situation and move on to that storyline because I feel like that one carries so much more weight. But I'll get into the banal thing a little bit later. Let's talk about M&A. I actually was a little bit weirded out by her reaction when she woke up. I was under the assumption that she's a virgin, and normally virgins who did not intend to lose their virginity, they're a little bit more worried when they wake up and find out that they did lose their virginity. But you know, the way she woke up, it seemed like this is something she'd done before. Like, she wasn't worried. Like, her worry was my mom is going to freak out because I'm not at home. So maybe she isn't a virgin, and maybe, she's experienced more things than is led on to believe. But she does get pissed off because Farouk left and left a note for her. But Farouk also lives in a more fast-paced world. So for him, doing something like that was acceptable. But for her, her somewhat small town mind, it was like kind of rude, like you paid me for sex or whatever, when he's like, yo, I left you that money so you could take a taxi home, which he probably did use the money to take a taxi home. So I'm just happy that in the end, I love how her mother was talking, because everything her mother said, I'm sure we were all thinking. You never sleep with a guy, especially like really early on in the relationship, unless you're okay with it. But if you want a guy to last longer, sometimes that's not the best way to go. And so I love when the mom was saying all of that, because we're all thinking that. But then Farouk goes ahead and does something different. However, his face was killer when she thought that him saying that we need to do something about this meant marriage, when for him it probably just meant let's live together. And I think that's probably what he was aiming for. We'll see how the response will be like in the next episode, what he'll say, because obviously this is like the perfect time to be like, yo, no, I'm not talking about marriage. But knowing how these writers are, they'll probably drag that on too. So anyway, moving on, let's get to Banal. So it's finally in this episode where it all comes out. It's something Zenab already figured out herself. She was just waiting for Banal to admit it, and finding Banal in the hospital just confirms it. I was not a fan of Medi's sister. Just all of a sudden now she's treating Banal one way. You could tell Banal has ulterior motives, and you should have just been truthful with. I think that his sister should have just been truthful with Mehdi in the first place, and let Mehdi make those decisions based on how he feels. But now, the sister is making all these assumptions, which I do agree with some of her assumptions, like Mehdi would not want you to kill this baby and all that stuff. But I feel like if you're gonna do all of this, you should have just told your brother in the first place. So we'll see what's gonna happen. I'm glad that it's finally all out on the table. Zenab knows it. Now it seems like Zenab is gonna leave, according to the Fagman, and go, away so that Mehdi can be a father to his kid. But honestly, I think that that's just dumb, because Mehdi doesn't want anything to do with Banal. But it looks like Banal, the way she is, she probably would treat Zenab like trash. I think Banal would behave like a sultan, like in the old Turkish world, whoever had this first son would basically be the sultan. So I think that Banal would behave like that, because it looks like she might end up moving into their house, being that she's carrying Mehdi's baby, and that will cause a whole new sea of drama. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Can't wait for the next episode. Again, stay safe during the corona. I'll see you guys. Bye.